plate and trying to avoid the Q3. Does get the pullback, irrelevant.
Well, Adam here might be in trouble.
Out. Double bounce flash, still just gets cut out of the sky.
Careful, Xanti ulti. Don't play Sky. Look, Xanti, look, Xanti. No flash, no flash, no flash.
I have A for you in 1 second.
You're the goat, Patrik, you're the goat.
Malrang going in, Knockside's back of the wall. Patrik, you ready to fall. JCC is there. Boom, alley-oop, the beefy boy to the front line, making it happen.
And welcome back to the LEC after this Rogue victory. That's right, they did it this time. They took it till the end, they took the Nexus and they won their very first LEC game. For now, let's see if they can transform this in a series later. But guys, improvements much on the side of Rogue?
I'm gonna quote Jong-hoon or Execute. Patrik Ezreal! Oh my god, what a game. Finally we see Patrik stepping up to the plate and delivering, because we know this guy has it in him, but he hasn't really looked that good the last couple of games. But here, really stepping up on the Ezreal. Really impressive to see.
Yes.
And I think more like if you're looking at it from a broader perspective, right? Trying to encapsulate Rogue as a team, what is it they've really had to improve on? And honestly,
a lot of things,
I mean, yeah, sure. Okay, but let's start small. Let's start with the Drakes, for example. I think the Drakes was something that they used as a priority against Team Heretics in game one, but they kind of struggled making it work. In this one, though, you saw heavy priority on it once again, though.
Oh, I think this is a beautiful setup by BDS. They're actually looking to dive top and try to use their Atakan buff to try to get tempo advantage for the Dragon. As we roll the clip out, we're going to see them actually approaching that area and trying to contest Rogue, but Rogue doesn't waver.
But I think the problem that you have here is that they feel pressure to really commit with all their ultimates because they have that Atakan buff, and it's not really a successful play whatsoever. At this point in the game, there's 30 seconds for the 4th Drake for Rogue, which will be the Soul. And yeah, they are withdrawing, but for this fight now, if we pause it, they don't actually have ultimates on BDS, and that makes Rogue feel like they should make a play. They're hungry to try and go forward, and that's why Adam's kind of getting caught a bit as well.
Yeah, and I really enjoy that Rogue is finally showing some bravado and willingness to contest these Drakes, because I feel like the Rogue we've seen in the past would maybe think we have no ults, we shouldn't contest this, but even though the setup is not perfect, they're still showing willingness to contest this. And here, I think it was a really good setup by 113, finding the catch onto Adam, but here they get a little bit greedy. They take the aggressive pathing and then run right into Execute Alistar, who finds a great combo. And together with a crazy play by Patrik, the Rogue actually cleans this fight up.
Yeah, and I think if you like kind of actually pause it right here, like you'll see the position that Rogue will try and find themselves in. I think Execute's position is actually going to be crucial because he's going to try and find a knockup in a bit. As you roll it out again, you'll actually see that when BDS looks for the re-engage with the Relevant and with Nuke, Execute is kind of hovering a position where he won't get stunned. So he finds the knockup again on Irrelevant, and it allows Patrik once again on the Ezreal, who's just had that arcane shift to play around with, to create so much space for his AD carry. So while the fight initially looked really poor from Rogue, despite the advantage they had in the ultimate department, they're still able to team fight their way out of it after. So massive improvements from Rogue, where it's not a clean setup, but the intention is still there and you're working on the Drakes. And a scenario like this, they're still showcasing the individual talent that they do have on the roster, and they make it work in this game one.
And I feel like we don't care about it being clean. We care about them trying stuff and trying something that is coherent. And I feel like they drafted something that was relatively easy to execute, that had scaling potential. They were active in the early game. They improved on their Drake setups. I'm hyped.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm getting hyped.
We can start working on Baron setup after Drakes become even better.
Yeah, this one doesn't count. Larssen talked about it, but yeah.
Obviously still some issues. Like, it's not the greatest team that we have, but I think it's nice that we're seeing the improvement.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all we can ask for right now. We need to see more from Rogue week to week. We need to see them get better, because they came into week one very weak, and now already a little bit sign of improvement, and most of all, a really entertaining game. I had a blast watching this game, and it was just so much back and forth. And finally, a Rogue that doesn't shy away from fighting, because that has been one of the main criticisms. Rogue are boring. Rogue doesn't fight, but finally we know Execute, we know Adam, and we know Malrang are all players that make things happen, and I'm really excited to finally see some life in Rogue.
I will say though, like, it was still a very slow-paced early game, and I mean, we got the GA Atakan, which you haven't really gotten much of, so it still speaks to a game where there isn't too much happening in the early game, but I think that Rogue finds themselves in a position where that's really good for them, and I think it's really on BDS to try and contest Rogue Rogue better around these early Drakes, because if you allow Rogue to play for that, that's really what they're best at right now, but they're still struggling in a lot of other aspects of the game. And I was a bit disappointed in BDS with what they came into in this game, because their team composition wasn't necessarily bad whatsoever. They had the tools to fight around some of these Drakes as well, but they couldn't leverage the team comp properly.
And I'm wondering what they want to come up with here in this second game, because choosing the red side, I feel like they want to give a different look to their draft, to maybe their strategy and their approach here against Rogue. What do you see for them?
Yeah, so I think they're very happy trading the OP champions. I think they're not really afraid of, for example, Malrang going Naafiri. And I think they really want to secure a good matchup for Irrelevant. I think they didn't really enjoy having to blind pick top lane last game, because they ran into that situation where Adam just, despite dying a bit early, has constant pressure on side lane. But I really want to highlight that despite BDS showing really, really good things last game, it's still this impatience we see from them. They will do 2, 3, 4 really good things and then really screw the setup up by doing one really crucial mistake. So we need to see them take a deep breath and come into this game too with a little bit more tempered play.
Yeah, and I mean, not so much speaking on like draft perspective from BDS, but I also just think the laning phase was very rough. I mean, Irrelevant was outperformed, and I think that speaks well to your point, Finn, about getting Irrelevant that counter pick. But when I'm also looking at the bot lane, Execute was consistently outperforming Parus, and it gave them a lot of bot lane pressure to play around these Drakes. So I think going into the next game, it is very important that Ice finds himself in a comfortable spot so BDS can leverage that pressure for some of the Drakes.
It's a tough comeback to the LEC for BDS so far, but let's see how they changed their approach here in Game 2. So far, really convincing debut on the side of Rogue, and a lot of improvements from them. Let's see if they can keep the ball rolling in Game 2. Casters, over to you.
It's a great question, Laure. BDS, I imagine, will be eager to fire back after a pretty bad Game 1.
Yeah, it was
trying to find
lackluster.
the appropriate adjective, but bad is where we'll start. They weren't on the same page, I think, is my biggest criticism. Once the Ocean Soul came through, it was always going to be hard. But you pointed it out, right? I still think back to that mid lane play where it's the seismic shove is right there, but then the Maokai Q knocking people out of it, and you just, that cannot happen in these clutch moments on a difficult composition. So.
And it's been the story of this team, I think, last split as well, where 113 and Parus especially just aren't on the same page as the rest of the team. And that's normal. It's part of the growing pains of a team when you get a new support in jungle. But, you know, it's only so long that you can keep saying that. We're into spring now, and BDS don't have the toughest competition ahead of them here. And this is a team that they are, you know, supposed to beat if they really want to be a top team.
Absolutely. And I think for the other edition of BDS, the one that we've known to be the top 14, kind of the gatekeeper of top 3 really so consistently at the top of the table, they had a ton of time to play together.
Yeah.
So maybe this is a new muscle for BDS as a whole to find a way to get all these players to work together. But still, at a certain point, you need results, right?
Yeah.
Spring feels like that time. It is Game 1, Week 1 for them.
Yeah.
So now as we go into Game 2, we'll see what a game-to-game adjustment is. We'll get to see next week as well. But this is a BDS that last split, I think, would have looked a lot more confident against Rogue. Did look a lot more confident against Rogue. So need to see if they can show some of that confidence here. The Xayah banned away from Rogue. Once again, on blue side, they do not want to give it over to 113.
Yeah.
The Aurora banned to 2.
I do think Rogue just will keep targeting 113. For me, this BDS roster has looked the best. 113 can be more of a carry rather than having to be the one engaging. Because I feel like at that point he can just kind of play his own style and play his own game, and it more matches up with the rest of the team. But you know, that's something that Rogue is keeping in mind here with this Xayah ban. And again, Naafiri hasn't been banned, nor has Gwen.
It's going to be third.
But it could be third ban for both teams.
I assume third for both.
Sejuani. So either Gwen or Naafiri will be open. And Rumble is out, which is a very strong champion into the Gwen. Jax is still open, which is another good answer.
And the classic dilemma of red side champ select. You can ban one, meaning your opponent will get a power pick, or you can ban something else and you'll both get a power pick. And they're both going to get a power pick.
Wow. And it's a Corki here. That is strange. We'll see what BDS decides to go for. Could go for both Gwen and Naafiri, or just choose one or the other.
Please lock in.
I mean, for sure we'll get one of them.
Naafiri.
If we don't get Gwen or Naafiri here, I would be
Don't care about Gwen. Please lock in.
You have so many dog jokes or what?
No, I just want to see it.
113 on Nidalee.
Hey, look, I like that option. Okay.
Yeah. But that means no Naafiri and no Gwen. That's what that means.
No,
Pretty much.
It doesn't have to be.
People pretty much only play Nefiri in the jungling competitive.
Okay, all right. Well, everyone has different reads on the meta. And I gotta say, look, 113 Nidalee has been good. You have a rhyme for a reason. I was skeptical. I was a hater. But I think across all of his champs, the Nidalee has looked consistently good. Even in the game they lost, he was pretty powerful on it.
Oh.
Now the hover over is there. You could go Corki, and Nefiri, dog comp. Thoughts? Rogue. Content.
You have 3 more dogs though, or do you?
Nasus. Support.
True.
5. Okay, fine.
Wow. This is very strange.
I'm gonna complain about this later on the podcast. For now, locking in. Look, it's fine. Nefiri is a champion that I assume has also banned in scrims. You never know who's had that much time to play it. If you're not confident in executing it, why flip it? Gwen's still powerful, still available. Will get locked in. Got some nice CC and setup for the buy, some power in the balance department from the Gwen, alongside a Corki that can still flex BDS.
I think a Jack's answer here would be great. For me, it's the best, Irrelevant's best champion. It's great into the Gwen, and just synergizes well with the rest of the top side. And then you can construct some more poke towards that bottom side to have a really good poke on.
I like it as well. Double AD. Might need a bit of magic damage on the bottom side of the map. Kai'Sa gets obliterated by Corki if the Corki does go bot lane.
I mean, you have Nidalee, so you're all good.
Feel like Nidalee's enough?
Yeah.
All right. I trust you.
And Jax is also a lot of magic damage. Or he could go Bows and full AP Jax.
Can't recycle on full AP. But you're right. Until the enemy team locks in a tank too, which doesn't seem like they're likely to do, it doesn't actually... You don't need too much.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have a tank support for the side of Execute most likely, but when support is the only tank, it's not really much of a problem since their economy is so low.
Okay, so Braum banned now, again. Answer into the poke comp. 2 good poke options. Nuke's Jayce has been really good too. I'm curious to see.
The Braum ban to me is a bit strange because you have so much poke in the Jayce and Nidalee that you don't really care if the enemy team has Braum. You'd rather them not have something like a Nautilus, something like Rakan, something that can actually go in to engage on your poke.
Yeah, maybe they're worried with the Gwen and the Vi that the follow-up from Braum is there, but Braum isn't really primary engage. I think Rogues still want one more big piece of hard engage, like you mentioned, for Execute.
Yeah.
Also, Jax doesn't care too much about Braum. That's the Syndra band. Okay, so they're really just trying to limit, respecting the Corki flex.
Yeah, I think this Corki will most likely go towards bot, and then you lock in another AP champion alongside this Vi Gwen top side.
I've already banned the Azir, the Victor, Syndra out now as well, Talia Orianna. So we're really running low on control mages at this point, if that's what Larssen wants to go for. Need something that's going to lane well into the Jayce.
Makes sense to pick ADC here, but due to the fact that they banned Braum, maybe they'll choose to blind pick support instead. And it looks like they'll do so. They go for the Rakan here. Not the best synergy with Nidalee. You'd much rather have something like Nautilus or Leona, but intelligently banned out by Rogue. But interesting that they don't choose to go for ADC here. I think they're really worried about this Corki flex, and they want to give Ice last pick, but I don't know what you can really cook up on ADC. We'll see what he's got in the tank.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I guess just deciding that there's not really anything left that's good engaged.
Oh, I like this Ahri though. Ahri Vi, a great combination into this poke.
Bard, let's go.
Wow.
Yeah! Shouty guy, you're my new friend. I really appreciate your endless energy. Assuming you're the same person who shouted for Rogue earlier. You might not be. Yeah, okay, sick.
This Bard is very interesting as it provides a lot more engage towards the side of BDS.
Ooh, Xayah's a nice response though.
Xayah, it is good into the Vi Ahri engage, but it's not the easiest lane into this Corki Bard.
Nope, level 1 is gonna suck. Much is certain. But like you mentioned, look, you really clear combo setup around mid lane. Less clear combo around top side if Vi wants to go there, but still a powerful duo. On the opposite side, 113 Nidalee, need to see, put to the test. Prioritized over what many consider to be the most broken champion on this patch next to Gwen. The Nefiri is 113's Nidalee. It has to deliver. BDS want to find this win.
Yeah, and both of these team comps are so squishy. There's so much explosive power on both sides. I would be surprised if we don't have more of a bloodbath than we had last game.
I think that if either team gets any kind of substantial lead, they're going to run away with the game. It's so hard to come back against either of these compositions.
I do think I prefer Rogue's comp though, just because they have so much tools. I think if this Gwen can survive laning phase, you have like so much pick potential with the Vi ult, with the Ahri ult, with the Bard ult, and you have Gwen champion.
Yeah, the Gwen champion, and Gwen is going to eat against this comp. Like, she's absolutely going to smack as we get later into the game. The Howl of Mist is just so good. Outside of the Jax, so powerful against this composition overall. But again, Rogue won game 1 pretty confidently, executing better in those fights. A lot of that mid-support duo. This time it might have to be mid-jungle. We'll find out. We get to game 2. Rogue, a 2-0 victory would be impressive. A big upset against the BDS, who we expected to come out swinging.
And interestingly here, it's going to be the Electrocute for Execute here on this Bard, which has been a popular option after Electrocute got some base buffs, I mean. But what it does mean is that he's going to probably play really aggressive in this bot lane matchup and really look to bully Ice and Parus. So I got my eye on this bot lane matchup.
You guys couldn't see it, but he did a little monocle gesture.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, you had your glasses? I couldn't say. It was out of the corner of my eye. Well, currently Larssen is the one getting poked, which seems annoying. 1-1-3 trying to take control early on, but you highlighted it, right? We expect the Bard Corki to dominate. Corki alone would have been a strong point for the spot lane matchup, but Bard pushes it over the edge.
I do wonder if 1-1-3 can try to get some sort of early lead on this Vi. I mean, this is a point we always repeat when we have a Vi, but her biggest weakness is her early game clear. So usually...
Feels like a kid's TV show. Say, with me, everyone. Early game clear.
So how you measure success against this Vi is one of two things. Either can you counter jungle the Vi and get a camp lead that way, or can you impact the map more than the Vi, getting your laners ahead. So I want to see what can 1-1-3 choose to do in this game.
I think it's even more important in the context of kind of lacking some of that reliable setup, especially around mid lane. You really, really need to get something done here, because if Vi just gets to level 6 unscathed, and we mentioned before, all it takes is one lane to start snowballing for this game to feel so much harder for either side.
Yeah.
Nuke, level 1. Going decently.
You can see Rogue here, bot lane getting the push, getting some good trades in. One of the nice things about this Rakan, though, is the sustain that he provides.
Yeah. Does balance out a bit. For Execute, he'll get a bit more sustain around level 2 if he does opt to go for the Shrines, as I imagine he will. Portal also an option, and Bard roaming, of course, the thing that we always look for. For now, just check the bush. Grab some chimes. I'm just going to say that one thing that always throws me about League of Legends every time I take a step back is...
Execute might have leveled E? Oh, he hasn't leveled the spell yet. He's took it E now.
Going through. In onto Nuke.
Oh,
no! Oh! Everyone close your eyes! Everyone close your eyes! Out of respect to the players. If you're in the audience, I'm watching. Close those. We're just going to move on. No one saw that.
It's the thought that counts. That's what they always told me.
Well, an early TP at the cost of a flash. If they had gotten flash, it would have been fine, but they didn't get flash. They used Ignite, and he had the skill E level 2, which isn't the worst, but it does mean that a lot of that bot lane advantage that they were supposed to have is
gone.
Yeah, it's deteriorating, because Patrick's left on his lonesome.
Yeah, that might be trouble.
Patrick,
just good trades here. 1v2.
Casually 1v2ing. And Malrang's here now. I mean, the thing about Ice and Parus is they feel like they need to force something. Executes on the way and did get level 3 because of Chimes.
I think Malrang might be able to flash Q onto Ice here.
Flash Q, he gets it. Ice forced to flash back. Parus now retreating as well. Good response from Ice, but it costs 3 sums in exchange for double flashes.
It's going to be flash for flash. I mean, actually, Bard flashed as well.
Yeah, so double flash.
Again, a summoner spell favor trade here for the side of BDS. Oh, Parus flashing on to Execute, no flash.
Execute, spear hit. 1-1-3 on the way in. There's nowhere for the Bard to go. Down he goes. First blood for BDS. And I was just about to check in on 1-1-3.
1-1-3 on Nidalee. He gets the first blood. Beautiful flash from Parus, punishing that earlier flash from Execute.
And a much needed victory there, because again, all the combat sums as well as flashes burned in the context of all these trades, while 1-1-3 only had about a half camp, 1 camp lead over Malrang.
Yeah, and it also means that this bot lane advantage, it's gone. Xayah got to crash the wave, she got her recall up, and she's a happy panda right now.
That she is. Look, all I'm going to say is, I don't know what Bards do from this position, because in solo queue, you leave your lane alone forever so they can suffer and pray that another lane will carry. But in pro play, it's not that simple.
It might.
Might be. Execute his bot, at the very least for now. It's a tough spot to be when you're the Bard fighting from behind. Level 6 is going to give you a lot of power. You still roam pretty quick, but...
Yeah, the biggest problem is when you fall behind in this matchup, it just allows the Xayah Rakan to always have this all-in win con. While when you're the one ahead, then you're chunking the Xayah Rakan down. They can't all in you anymore, and that just means that you can play even more aggressive.
Need to see Patrik. I mean, again, had stepped up, had a great Ezreal game in game 1. Maybe he can look to do the same here. Ice this time around, not on the lethality. Varus can be that big team fight AD carries. We see Adam and Irrelevant trading. Well, these trades not working out great for Adam. That wave looks like it's set to freeze, and
so TP advantage for Irrelevant. Drake started up by 113. It's a level 5 Vi here. I think it's hard for Rogue to really contest this.
I mean, Bard CC not reliable. Patrik trying to get push. I'm not sure what the play is here. For the side of Rogue, BDS content to just keep poking this out. Larssen might try to roam, but he's going to walk face first into Nuke, who's going to get a decent trade. The rest of Rogue now stepping forward. Time to flip a coin. 1500 HP. Execute ready with a way over the wall.
Execute, miscue.
113 ready to start the fight. Parus going to miss the engage. 1K getting lower. They're going to try to finish it. 113 is going to grab it as Larssen and Nuke trading back and forth. Larssen just ticking over to level 6. Might continue to aggressive. Nuke ticking over as well. Larssen's ult forced out. So overall, around the objective, very positive. BDS get what they want and get an early Ahri ultimate.
So it is going to be BDS getting the Drake, but Rogue was able to push in bot, denying Xayah full wave, and now they're on to Parus.
Ticking, burning, execute on the chase. Awkward short tunnel through the wall as 113 continues to chase them. Another trip through the short tunnel. Now they're trying to make it out, but Nuke is coming, and I don't think this is going to end well. Forsaken Jayce getting in there. Patrik forces a flash over the wall. Q over to the skies, ready with the thundering blows to finish it. He might find one more. BDS slaughtering Rogue on the bottom side. Larssen gets a compensation kill back, taking out Irrelevant, but that is not good.
113 on Nidalee finds some magic, and it's a disaster for Rogue. I was just gonna tell you how it wasn't that bad for them. They got to crash a bot wave, and the bot wave was slow pushing into BDS, no, into Rogue, so it's gonna be a huge individual lead here for Patrik, but instead Execute and Malrang, they want more, and it's too much. And it leads to all 3 members of Rogue going down. Beautiful,
with
slow.
BDS. And yeah, I thought
Play
afterwards I would get my ticket to LEC, but it took
From,
me a bit longer.
BDS.
But now for Spring Split, I'm finally here.
We're hearing something
It's
I'm not
awesome.
sure if
There's an
everyone else
awesome
can hear.
video also from your
But,
team that is on.
Keep that in mind. Not sure if everybody can hear that or if it's just us. If we sound like we're total weirdos, it's because the voices in our head were talking to us during that.
Yeah, it told me 113 on Nidalee.
This is your catchphrase now.
Yeah.
It's, okay, I'm sorry. Is it just... is there a script? Is it scripted? Like, is this some WWE level of coincidence? Are the results predictable? No. Rogue, though, in a tough spot. And again, we want more aggression from Rogue. We're like, execute Malrang, great.
They did give it to us.
Yes, but sometimes it's too much. Sometimes when the enemy teams are stronger,
and that's
you
just a solo
shouldn't
kill.
fight. And now Irrelevant got a solo kill. And we're continuing the trend of game 1 Adam being absolutely yoked.
Well, he also got solo kill game 1.
He was still great. Game 2, he's greedy. And again, Irrelevant Jax was perma-banned last year. Every single game, people would ban this against him. It was strong in the meta, but against him specifically, it never got to see the light of day. This time around, he's playing it and reminding people why he has that reputation.
And I do love this from BDS, just the strategy of leaving Gwen open with the idea in mind that you have this great Jax player that can bully this Gwen and really take over the game. I think it's a much better strategy than just banning Gwen like every other team does, because it doesn't play into your top laner's strength. I don't want to see Irrelevant on Cassandra into Gnar. I want to see him on this Jax. I want to see him popping off.
And for Irrelevant, this is big. This is a champ where you really need to have an impact. So much of your reputation as this kind of unsung top laner last year was around this Jax performance, so this Jax performance in scrims. Now if we get to see that on stage, be a good look for BDS overall, and for Irrelevant especially, as Larssen will grab a plate here. Irrelevant no TP. Larssen kind of holding him in lane, it seems like, using his own TP to go back up top after that solo kill. Irrelevant a bit off in timing, we'll lose a wave, we'll lose a plate, but still ahead in the 1v1 matchup. And 113 on Nidalee. Still having a hell of a game, 1 whole level up on Malrang.
1 level up, Drake secured, 3 grubs. He can do no wrong right now.
He can do no wrong. They're likely to get a tower. They're going to get the feats. They're going to be so fast.
Okay, I think you're going a bit too far now, no?
Probably. But we did say that these were two compositions where if one snowballed, the game would feel very unplayable very quickly. And we're not there yet.
Yeah.
As Execute's about to portal through the shopkeeper's head, I don't quite know how that works. From a lore perspective, from a gameplay perspective, of course, it doesn't make sense.
This is a nice Bard portal. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, he's lined up. This man
Nice
plays
and
Bard.
long.
Average. Regardless. Rogue. Learning the waves as best they can. I think the point where they could maybe look to turn it back is around the mid-jungle duo that you mentioned earlier. You still have Ahri, you still have Vi, if you can find an isolated member. You have so many tools to start a fight.
Oh, relevant.
Just gotta stay away from this Nidalee. Charm.
Might be able to blow the ult here from Larssen.
Probably can. Or not.
Decides not to, scared of the Bard and Vi being in the vicinity. Decides to jump out.
Great patience from Larssen, knowing his team is behind him. Most Ahri's just immediately use the
relevant
dash.
is chunked. He might get dove here.
Execute. Good backstep, sidestep from relevant. Counter should be up shortly. Ulti in. Chain CC combo. The true damage on the back half of the orb, making it easy. He'll pick up his there. 1-1-3 chasing down Patrik. Might find the solo kill. Blast looking a little bit awkward. Otto's coming in. Spear goes a bit wide. 1-1-3 on the chase. Barrier there. Not enough. 1-1-3 solo kill in the jungle. Execute going forward. Q flash is there. Execute so low. Larssen trying to fall. They don't really have enough damage. The charm hits. Larssen needs another rotation. Execute needs to get the hell out. Taking their time. But in the meantime, bottom lane, Ice grabbing plates, getting so much money. 1-1-3 single-handedly making the difference on the bottom side to set his team up. Push in. Parus taking some damage. Execute not able to
Rogue are going for more. They're keeping in with
Top
Adam.
lane from Adam. Full committal here. Giving up the Drake. Giving up so much. The tower. Isolated with the Bard. Also get one more. Now they can take the tower as well. If the Dragon gets completed first, though, it will be the feats to the side of BDS.
And 1-1-3 can do no wrong, but his team can. Irrelevant taking trades on weak side. Starts off this play that allows Rogue to dive him. But BDS, it's okay. Irrelevant dies, but they keep doubling down, sending more and more members into this top lane, straight into their grave.
Relevant's still chasing. Fearless, the portal there, trying to stop the recall. Malrang's also forced to stop his recall. Huge tempo advantage there. And again, you know 1-1-3 is doing well if you just joined us. It's 4-0-1, but that solo kill in the jungle made that top play okay.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just the kill, it was also the Drake, and then in turn, so much more money for Ice.
Yeah, 4 plates down in the bot lane for Ice, just from 1-1-3 solo killing Patrik there. He's nearly 1,000 gold down now on this Xayah. And now you're sitting on 2 Drakes for the side of BDS. 1-1-3 is on the way to get these 6 grubs as well, and Irrelevant's about to get his top tower. If you can secure this 3rd dragon and get like Cloud Soul on this BDS lineup, that looks pretty damn insane.
No one's getting away from 1-1-3 right now. No boots, straight to Seekers. This man does not have to run away from anyone. The prowl movement speed steroid is enough. Execute, hovering, does not have access to ulti. 1 grub taken down. They got the 4 grub buff and they've already gotten feats. They don't have to overcommit for 6, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to get them.
5.
Are they going to risk the 50-50 versus Malrang? Larssen standing behind them. Parus waiting in the bush to catch them out. Malrang will get 1 at the very least. BDS going to get mid-pressure here. Rogue just forced to respond. And a completely different game 2 from BDS.
Yeah, and 5 grubs here for BDS. You're very, very happy about that. 6 would just be icing on the cake. And Nidalee is also able to now invade this bot side. Vi's able to trade with the Krugs, but I don't think she can go for Raptors, so it's going to be a camp lead here for 1-1-3 as he's able to get all 3 camps on Vi's bot side. And they get the bot tower as well. Now the question is, can they dive Irrelevant here for this tier 2? But I think with Parus covering, they just have to recall.
And this is where it gets so difficult for Rogue. Falling behind it all is tough, but as you start to lose these tier 1s, the Nidalee roaming around your jungle, the Jayce poke becomes that much more threatening. On top of that, Parus doesn't have the tankiest champion in the Rakan, doesn't have that normal combo with a, the strong, aggressive, engaged jungler, but Rakan lurking in a bush to set up kills, Tail as old as time, and Rogue running out of map to play with here.
The thing is, when 1-1-3 is this far ahead on the Nidalee, he can kind of play as this tanky bruiser jungler because it's so hard to go on him. He has the stopwatch, he has the flash, he has the mobility, and he just has so much damage that you really need to burst him down if you're going to do anything.
Will he build Megas? That's my question to you.
He has only 2 stacks on the Darksteel right now. I think if he goes to 10 stacks, I wouldn't mind it.
I just like the confidence.
Yeah.
And credit to BDS, because again, I think very often when we've seen 113 play, and he's not on the same page as his teammates,
Yeah.
the decision is to take things away, to put him on a tank jungle, on a tank champion. Now, admittedly, Rogue did ban the Sejuani, which could have been an option.
He's 1 camp away from being 3 levels up.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Wow.
So again, you could have, after those hiccups, the lack of coordination last game, said, you know, we need you to play something team player, reliable output. Instead, they gave him one of the most volatile champs of the game in Nidalee, and he's completely delivering.
1-1-3 on Nidalee.
Hey, man. One rhyme saying so much. We'll sample what you're saying and put it into a song. BDS, social team, get on it. Do it. BDS, you have to concede a bit here. Rogue behind, but Larssen not in too bad a shape. 2-0-2. It's the Roa Ahri build, which against a team comp that is so squishy, I don't mind.
The problem now for Rogue is that who do you really go on? You can't really go on this Xayah. You can't really go on Rakan. You can't really go on Nidalee. You'd like to go on Jayce, but he's chilling down in the bot lane, and it's very hard to go on Jax as well. And that just means that BDS can just freely poke. Despite losing this space, you can see how they can still just throw out these spears, and we haven't seen one yet land just yet, but if it does, it's trouble for the side of Rogue.
And if Rogue had gotten ahead, if that early gambit from Execute where he level 2 gank mid had resulted in a lead, this would be a much easier Bard game. Again, you can throw ult just to trade for relevant cooldowns, like a stopwatch, like a Xayah ult. But if you Bard ult for Xayah ult, when you're this far behind, that's a terrible deal. You need that ult much more. Rogue, though, are in a good position to start this objective.
The question is as well is if you Bard ult the Xayah, does Xayah even need to ulti right now? She can just hold it for the real engage.
That's the other problem. Patrik, good backstep on the spear. TV's coming in, full commitment onto Irrelevant. Good damage going in, counter-strike that really starts to fade. 1-1-3 walks in, takes the Herald. Irrelevant might live, gets over the wall, the heal coming in. Larssen trying to chase. No. Good charm. Parus getting him out. Leave no man behind. Private Irrelevant saved. The entire team coming together.
And it's a heist. 1-1-3 just sneaks in, takes away the Herald, while Irrelevant is distracting them. And with Parus saving the day, and look at bot lane. Nuke is getting this tier 2 bot as well, and BDS are getting the 3rd rank.
Last game was so tense, so close, but this is a slaughter. And it's all 1-1-3.
It's a daylight robbery.
I mean, yeah, but check this man PC. He's stealing so much. he's just bullying at this point. 2.5k gold lead, 18 minutes into the game.
Why did we put this guy on Sejuani and Maokai?
I mean, the problem was I was a big hater last split, and I would have said that was the #1 thing that I wanted. But I'm going to have to eat those. One thing on Nidalee, you were right. The rhyme has remained true. This man is a monster on this champ. And I mean, you're starting to build up pocket picks for this BDS lineup that are going to demand respect, right? Nuke still has that Cassio in his back pocket. You've got this Jax for Relevant. Now the Nidalee for 1-1-3. And such a huge boon in Fearless that, especially as you go later in a draft, one of these could always be that kind of threat.
You do have to question Rogue's drafting strategy. He first picked Corki this game over the Nathiri. And it hasn't paid out so far.
I just don't think they were ready to play Nathiri. Like, is Malrang going to play Nathiri? That doesn't really line up with Rogue's MO. And I think that BDS were willing to call that bluff too.
It would appear so. Another heralding down to bot lane here. Spear just barely misses onto Adam.
He's forced to walk away because of the shock blast. Here comes the Nidalee. Execute gonna ult.
Oh yeah,
Nidalee gonna keep going. 1-1-3. Still going. He can't keep getting away with it. He can actually do no wrong.
TP from Adam. I think he might have done wrong. I think he might have done a bit bigger wrong.
It took us 19 minutes of glazing to set up for that caster curse, but we did finally curse him.
Yeah. On the bright side, though, I do think that this might mean that the tier 2 does end up falling for the side of Rogue, which does mean, so 1-1-3 was a 700 gold shutdown, but Nuke just got 700 gold.
That was all kind of balanced out.
So maybe 1-1-3 didn't do anything wrong.
Maybe not. Execute needs to be a bit careful here. But we'll be all right. So good for Rogue to have that shutdown. Bit of hope. Desperately need that extra money. Sadly for them, the one strong point, Larssen, again, 5 of their 5 kills, he has been part of the equation. Now behind Gold in terms of nuke after that tower falling down.
Yeah.
Adam, though, has been just quietly farming, getting stronger. 2 items to Gwen, a real monster. 3 only gets stronger.
Yeah, he did pick up that Nidalee shutdown, so he's really quite strong here. We'll have to see if it actually can make any sort of difference. 2.5 minutes now to Soul to BDS, and I do think if BDS get this Soul, it's so hard for this Gwen to ever hit any spells.
Also the Ruinous Otacon this time around.
True.
There was enough action. So additional buffs to what is already triple Drakes and 5 grubs is a very big deal. But a potential bounty here if Rogue want to try and sneak it. BDS snuck one of their own last game. 1-1-3 though on the case.
Maybe started up by Rogue here, but
I don't know if you can heist the Heist Master here though. This is a bold gambit from Rogue.
yeah.
Execute waiting over the wall, but if a single Spirit hits that Bard, he's probably dead.
TP behind from Irrelevant. He has a crazy flank here.
To the flank. Rogue, all eyes on the objective. Executes all going wide. Parus going in. Nice dash back coming from Patrik, but it's not going to matter because Relevant's already in the back line. Larssen can't get involved. Adam, though, now on a rampage. Starting to cut him up. Otacon taking out the flowers, though. Rogue need to get the flowers. All of BDS retreating and Irrelevant trying to make the difference. Adam still standing, trying to step back in. Ice waiting over the wall. It's a messy, messy fight. 1-1-3 goes golden. A few flowers going over to the side of BDS. Rogue now fully on the retreat. Ice getting some of the benefit of that objective, but the Otacon ultimately going to Rogue as now all of them are running. 1-1-3 prowling in the jungle, fishing for these cleanup kills. They need to get the hell out.
1-1-3. Oh, Patrik! He dashes into it!
Living, the trap, the backstep, the shock blast. Oh my gosh.
They're able to get away, but it's going to be the tier 2 going over for the side of BDS.
And the thing is,
messy fight.
100%. And if BDS weren't so wildly far ahead, that fight would have been a catastrophe for them. Adam did a lot of work, but ultimately, despite the Otacon steal, things still look pretty good for BDS.
It's a great engage from Parus, and that Otacon does end up going down with Parus just getting one shot with nobody being able to follow. And it's the flowers, the garden of death. As you have to choose, do you hit the flowers, do you fight the champions? And neither side can quite make up their mind. As you see, everybody's trying to do a little bit of everything. And the spears are just barely not landing, resulting in the fact that Rogue are able to pick up this Otacon, which is crucial, as if BDS got that 25% Otacon buff on all their Drakes, it would have been huge for them.
It would have been huge. They still have a 4K gold lead. They're still very far ahead in the experience department. 14
and
Soul to Malrang's 12.
In 15 seconds.
The tension starts to build if you're Rogue.
Adam is in base with no TP here. He's very far.
Sprinting as fast as he can. Rogue have to play this one slow, but Execute is still stepping up.
Parus no flash, so it's hard to engage, but I do feel like this Drake fight will decide the winner of this game.
Cloud is there. Rogue trying to find a new angle. They want to play through mid, not through the bottom side, not towards Irrelevant.
Adam's looking for the flank.
DK. BDS are a bit split. Do they want the fight? Do they want the Drake? Again, they're playing slow. They don't have to risk anything.
No flash.
Good catch. Fall here has to be clutch. Q in. Irrelevant off to the side. Parus now looking for the re-engage, but a nice knockback coming in from the Drake. A little bit more health coming out, but Malrang is down. Malrang completely dead. They can't take the objective. It's Soul. Malrang just dropped too soon. Irrelevant. Into the midst of 3. He will get taken down. But the Drake to BDS, the Cloud Soul, they are so damn fast. That bar flashing might not even matter. A clean sidestep, a spear to connect. Execute getting run down. Adam, the last on the list. Disaster for Rogue.
And it's not a heist, this is a daylight robbery as BDS get everything. The Cloud Soul, 4 kills. Malrang tries his damnedest to get the Drake, but he ends up going down before he can secure it. And after that, it's all she wrote, as 1-1-3 can just freely smite the objective. It's a great engage by Execute here. 1-1-3 not able to flash the Bartled, forced to immediately flash after as they fail to CC chain on the Bartled. Malrang thinks, I can go in, I can ulti, but he ends up going down, and with that, the Cloud Soul goes over to the BDS, and the rest of the lineup can clean up with Irrelevant with a beautiful E-flash here, and then 1-1-3 doesn't land the spear, but doesn't matter.
And
he's already done enough,
right? Because Execute, if it's actually perfect, if the Q is perfect, if the Cosmic Binding is perfect, you get that 2-man piece of CC, Gwen is in the perfect position to follow, maybe you get more kills. Even if you lose the Drake, you can at least get the fight. But he gets the ult is great, and he's that 10th, that millisecond off. The difference between playing on Tournament Realm, playing on a server, playing on LAN, and playing at home, right?
Yeah.
And that's crushing, because that could have been the angle, that could have been the moment.
Could have been the
BDS, could have been the start, at the very least.
Yeah.
But now, Cloud Soul, Nidalee. And Jax. Ooh, okay. It'll be tough to get away.
It's tough to get away, but even more so, it's tough to get on them, which is what Rogue really needs. You saw how slippery they were just in that last fight, despite the fact that Execute was able to get the bar. Oh,
Charm, starting things off, knock up to follow.
Malrang's down.
Malrang's down, disengaged from the Bard ult, gets a bit of space, but Execute is still in trouble. Again, Cloud Soul, Nuke just running, chasing him, looking for the knockback, the auto, Execute about to fall. But now just the Baron gonna get started here. And Malrang once again dead. 0, 4, and 5 on this buy.
Irrelevant got chunked out. Rogue want to look to contest here.
8K, I don't think they have another choice. 6K down. There's probably an opportunity for a better fight. Maybe not again. Redemption goes in. 7K. Larssen dashing forward, waiting on the charm as long as possible. The second Larssen charms, everyone on BDS can just go psycho. Charm completely misses. Irrelevant immediately jumps in. Adam now trying to follow. Good damage for the Gwen. That's the shutdown on the Xayah. Adam still chasing. Wants to zone 1-1-3 away from the pit. They can't win the smite fight, but they can stop the Baron.
They're keeping the Nash. They're keeping it.
Now
but 1-1-3 is going to steal it again.
4K. This is psycho. 3K getting lower. Irrelevant in the midst of the pit. They're going to bet it all in this moment. Malrang is finally here, and he gets it. BDS! They got away with too much! Too many coins came up heads! They were overconfident! Malrang stifles it in an instant.
And we're just stealing from each other back and forth here as BDS get greedy. They want to try to keep this Nash going, but Malrang is back on the map and he is able to secure it. Let's watch everything back to where it started here with a great face check from Parus. He knows that if you guys go on me, I'm completely fine. I'm just gonna ulti, drag Malrang back into the team, and that's your jungler down. Look, chases down Execute, 1 HP. It looks like a free Nash, but this is one of the weaknesses of BDS's comp. They don't have great champions to tank the Nash. Irrelevant is off to the side. Their damage to Nash isn't that high, so that means that Rogue can poke. They can be the ones leveraging their position, and Larssen, with great positioning, is able to chunk eyes down, and they got the Nash.
Might be in trouble. Whoa. Minion wave going Goldem. Adam gets a bit more space, but he might just die here. A bit anticlimactic. Down he goes. Execute next on the list. What the hell happened during that replay? Execute's dead too. BDS. All right, they're still winning.
And Rogue just fumble it. They just get 2 picked off. It's probably not going to amount to much as the Elder's still in 1 minute and 30, and they do have the Nash, but this is the problem when you are a struggling team like Rogue. You can have these good positions and then throw it all away. And this Nash for Rogue, it's going to amount to nothing.
Yeah, and not in a position where they have that Ocean Soul like last game where they could fight these closer fights, where they were favored compositionally. It's tough. They did win game 1. They'll have a chance again in game 3. The game isn't over yet either, but Baron, the hype of stealing the Baron, short-lived. Because the carries are still massive on the side of BDS, and you saw in the previous fight, Adam, when he's not facing Irrelevant, can do a lot of work. When he can get on top of people, but it's so hard to replicate that circumstance.
It's interesting here, the BT third for Patrik. I quite like it into this full poke comp. Good damage from Larssen.
He's in chunk. Execute should be fine. He's spearheading big, but won't matter too much. Have a dumpling.
Big spike that Larssen really needs is his Rabadon. I think that would really level up his damage.
Might be enough. 3 items now. Hasn't even stopped to go for boots too.
And he just got it. That's a huge spike for him there.
Adam
The biggest
also
problem is this jungle difference. Malrang is just so squishy. It's really hard for him to really be this main engaged that he needs to be for the team because he just goes down so damn fast.
Well, and against the composition in the era of, you know, Jinx or Aphelios or whatever, where it's like if you just kill this one person, it's fine. But there's 4 damage threats on the enemy team. You get one of them, the other 3 are just going to win the fight.
Elder in 5 seconds here. Rogue desperately want to contest through bots, but they're being forced out. Adam is far. Down on this mid flank.
BDS can just pull the trigger.
BDS have full control here.
They know Adam's on the way down. Malrang, good control ward. Stepping forward there could have meant death. BDS did not place the ward over the wall, so did not see him.
BDS just want to keep poking. They don't want to start the objective. Adam's on a flank here, but he has no vision to work with.
Stepping up, skip and slash backwards.
Adam ulting.
Hallowed missed down. All of BDS turning, knowing the Gwen is a threat. Adam wants to turn it back. Dash backwards. Now Larssen is TPing. It's going to take a bit of time. He goes golden, but Larssen now going to be the one in trouble. Perfectly timed out coming in from Execute. Buys
couple extra seconds. Redemption, Adam, not enough time to get the miss back up, and it's all falling apart for Rogue, but Patrik might manage to get one. Irrelevant now on the chase. The Jack's ready to take over. The stun landing. BDS looking to clean it up. Malrang finally coming in, but it will not be enough. The carries still standing tall on the side of Rogue. All Malrang can do is run, but there's nowhere left for him to go.
And it's Adam on an optimistic flank here that gets caught out. It's not going to mean the end of the game as Larssen intelligently got the mid-wave to deny it from them, but that is going to be the Elder Dragon going over to BDS.
Elder Dragon, 6k gold lead.
Elder Dragon, Soul, plus the gold lead. You have to think that this is all BDS need. They can't close out the game with this. I don't know what they can.
Find out. Rogue Miracle stole one objective. Maybe they can steal another Baron for the next 2 minutes. BDS, they weren't already in the driver's seat. They sure are now. And again, Adam doesn't have great information, doesn't have great vision.
It's so hard to flank when you don't have any vision like this. You want to try to generate some pressure, but it's also this Cloud Soul, right? That allows this Jayce to get on top of you, despite the fact that you normally would be faster with all the hips and skips that Gwen normally has. But after that, Rogue try to salvage it, but with your Gwen, you're arguably his strongest member down. It's too little too late, and all of Rogue fall.
We're going to talk about hips and skips, or we're going to let that one go. Adam, caught out again. Not enough skips. Will be taken out.
This is the third time Adam gets caught here, and now it's a 4v5 with this Elder. We're going to need a miracle here for Rogue if they're going to hold on to this.
Adam, 45 seconds. Elder there, execute, might try to cut the wave.
Okay, I like it.
Pulling away, trying to desync the waves at the very least, so Relevant can't access another pressure point. It should be pretty impossible to catch the Bard. Good stun.
Still have the top wave though, and now it's 3v4 here.
Cat and mouse game between the Jacks and the Bard. Bard winning out.
One singular minion running down mid. Followed by the rest of the wave, slowly approaching.
Larssen doesn't have the best clear. Patrik either. BDS more than happy to just use their bodies to stop the poke from coming in, the wave clear from coming in. Irrelevant charm, but Nuke now just stepping up.
1 minute left on this Elder. All BDS need is one spear, one shock blast. It'll be the end of the game for Rogue.
Parus so ready. The ulti, crucially, not quite available to flash, not quite available for Parus, so he might have already gone in. But there's no bot wave for them to play with. Next wave. See now, topside coming in as well. The wave after will be supers.
They
don't
can't
have much time.
They're gonna have to back off. So it's going to go to this Nash. Can Rogue test this Nash? Still 30 seconds left on this Elder. I think they have to give it. And then BDS can just base and run towards this bot. But good TP here from Adam to try to push out this bot side so that when BDS recalls with this Nash, they have to go much, much deeper to get this bot wave out. And he buys him some crucial time, but not sure if it'll be enough.
That's a 10k gold difference. Baron empowered. You got 3 minutes of Baron that'll lead nicely into an Elder. The objectives aren't quite perfectly synced, and they're not going to layer on top of each other, but they lead into each other pretty nicely. And
I mean, I do think if Rogue can hold on until Elder spawn, the game is winnable for them. What they need is they need to not lose this third inhib at all costs. If they lose 3 inhibs, the game is boom.
What is it that you think? Is it just the 50-50 on the Elder, the potential of Elder making the difference?
I think it's just if you can get to a point where you can't contest the Elder, then all bets are off. But the problem is that if BDS play this map well, Irrelevant might be caught there.
Chasing. Goes the gold, and that's Malrang's out, gone. Now he flashes out as well. A lot of resources used there.
Rogue has to run to bot here. There's a bot wave coming in.
Is Adam willing to...
BDS are hungry for the third inhib.
The problem is if Adam dies here, they might just end the game. But he really does not want to give up the third inhib, as you mentioned. That's probably the death sentence.
Should try to fight, but without a Vial, I think it's too difficult. It's going to be that third inhib going over to the side of BDS.
You're still not connecting. It's important for BDS.
Good aggro positioning from Patrik, but he just doesn't have the damage.
Tutorial style here from BDS. They don't need to take any risks. Good bit of poke coming in, execute. Finding a bit of damage. Not getting Irrelevant on that mid play, costing them dearly.
The problem now is BDS can just play 3 lanes here, buff up all the minions that are going to come into the space and just keep poking. And eventually Rogue will lose.
The BT you mentioned for Patrik before does give them a bit of sustain here as Irrelevant starting to poke, but now it's Adam who's caught out. Gold and buys a second. Ice now ready to follow up. Adam flashing back to safety. The needlework coming out. But again, they're just getting chipped away at.
different circumstance. That could have been the start of a fight. Instead, it's just them getting the ultimates, trading ultimates. One tower falling. Redemption going in. Adam with no ulti. Malrang's ulti just around the corner. Irrelevant still standing strong. Fall of CC there, forcing the flash. The mist fading away, and now Adam's vulnerable once again. Ice getting aggressive, using a flash of his own. BDS ushering in the minions, looking to close it out clean. Larssen getting aggressive. One more dash in his back pocket. Irrelevant on a rampage. BDS closing it out. Rogue cut out of this game slowly but surely. 1-1-3 on Nidalee. The name of this particular game as they tie up the series.
And it was a little bit sloppy, but BDS show us that they are still a top team taking down Rogue in Game 2.
Honestly, a good look. Huge glow up between the games. Game 3 just around the corner. I cannot wait to see what it holds. Time to see Rogue can fire back.
Give me chaos. Never gonna settle for those boring plays, no way. Give me chaos. Never gonna feed, but we will create some space. Give me chaos. Greedy for the glory, so we're only chasing dreams. Making titles, trophies, highlights, international memes. Give me chaos.
Damn it. Hey Drakos, you ready for the... Oh, that doesn't look good. Wait, I have a solution, but you have a break. I will be right back. Just wait.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
See? I told you we'd figure it out.
I don't think this counts.
Come on, let's go.
Red Bull gives you wings.